All right, everyone. Seth Harris here with another video for you on the Metatocracy. In this video, we are going to be talking about the definition of the word metatocracy and how that word was derived, how that term was derived. Okay, so jumping right into it, first of all, the definition of the word metatocracy is a holographically organized, democratic, collective anarchy, okay? Holographically organized democratic collective anarchy. All right, this is a evolution rather than a revolution, right? I always say think evolution, not revolution. To revolve means to come back around full circle, okay, to the way things used to be. Evolution means to spiral outwards, right? To move forwards, okay? Now, throughout our entire 6,000 years of written human history, we have been using the exact same structural model for politics, society, and business, and it has never once changed, okay? It's always been the pyramid structure. The pyramid structure was originally created by the priests of the Sumerian Empire, if not by somebody before them, in order to create a caste system for slavery, okay? Now, we've since evolved, so to speak, our politics to democracy, republican, or the republic, socialism, communism, etc., 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 but we've never changed the structure of our politics. And as a result of that, they're all just new and pretty names for the same old theocratic structure. And by theocratic, I don't necessarily mean religious, okay? By theocratic, I mean it's a pyramid structure, and at the top of the pyramid are the ones that are basically the gods of that society. All the power and authority rests up here, and everybody down here are slaves without any power whatsoever, okay? The metatocracy is a complete and total evolution, okay? It goes above and beyond and completely into the future from anything we've ever seen before. It's a completely new and different organizational structure that actually allows for all people to be seen automatically as equal, free, and sovereign, just like the otherwise people at the top of the pyramid would be, okay? So before I get into describing the meaning of this definition, let's talk a little bit about how I came up with the term metatocracy, okay? Because this is a little bit of a story. It involves sacred geometry, which is basically the mystery school teachings 101, right? It's the basics of the mystery school teachings, okay? So, the metatocracy is derived as such, okay? It starts with the flower of life, okay? This pattern here is the flower of life, okay? As you can see, it's just a bunch of circles. Each circle is drawn through the center of another circle and adjacent to another circle, okay? And that's basically what it ends up creating is this. Now, you may or may not have seen this before. It can be found on basically the walls and floors of every ancient building from all of our ancient civilizations, right? Because they understood this pattern. They understood what it meant, and they understood its purpose and its importance. Now, throughout the flower of life pattern, you get a series of symbols. It starts with the seed of life, which becomes the egg of life, which becomes the flower of life, which begets the tree of life, and then finally, at the very end, you get what's called the fruit of life. Okay, that's this symbol here. This is the fruit of life. Now, if you take a straight line and draw that from the center of each circle to the center of every other circle, you get what's called Metatron's cube, okay? And that looks like this. This is Metatron's cube, all right? Within this are contained all of the sacred geometries, all of the Platonic solids as we call them today, all right? And that would be these, excuse me, but I wasn't able to print this out any larger, so I would just come a little closer. These are the sacred geometries found within Metatron's cube, okay? So you have Metatron's cube right here, and then in order of their simplicity, you have the tetrahedron, the cube, the icosahedron, the octahedron, the icosahedron, the dodecahedron, and then finally what's called the star tetrahedron or the double tetrahedron, also known as the Merkaba, okay? All of these sacred geometries are found within Metatron's cube. Now it's important to note at this point that what we just showed you there, what I just showed you here, is the fundamental organizational system of all of nature. These patterns, these geometries, and this fruit of life symbol can be found everywhere throughout nature, from the way galaxies and planets and stars are organized, to the way organs and tissues and cells in a living body are organized, to the way atoms and molecules within cells are organized, right? These geometries, this fruit of life symbol, is the organizational system of nature itself, okay? And if we human beings want to create a society that allows us to operate in harmony with nature and with each other, then we need to be operating using the organizational system of nature itself. Now let's take a look. Now everything throughout the universe is holographic. That's why holographically organized is in the definition of the term. Everything throughout the universe is holographic. So here is a holographic representation of the fruit of life symbol, okay? Now, if you've seen the actual organizational structure of the Metatocracy, this might look pretty familiar, okay? So I basically took this and simplified it to an organizational structure for society that looks like this, okay? Rather than having circles around circles, we have circles within circles, okay? And each one of these around this center is basically a blown up, zoomed in version of each one of these smaller circles, right? And so these are like, pardon me. So each one of those circles around the circles are like these, around these, except blown up so that you can see what's going on inside of this in a holographic fashion. All right, so that's where the term metatocracy comes from. It is the organizational structure of nature itself. So now let's try to understand this definition a bit more clearly, because it's so new. I'm sure many of you might be confused about anarchy being involved, especially in a political system. All right, so let's start with holographically organized. The term holographically or hologram is defined as, quite simply, the whole exists in every part, okay? So much like this guy, right, you can see that the whole pattern is existing within every part of the whole, okay? No matter how complex you get, no matter how deep into it you go, right, you're going to find the whole existing in every part. Now this gets a bit esoteric when you think of this as like the universe, because everything throughout the universe, everything throughout nature is holographic, right? Which means the entire universe exists within every little part of it, right? The entire universe exists within you. Your body is literally a representation of the entire universe. This planet is a representation of the entire universe. The galaxy is a representation of the entire universe. Every cell in your body is a representation of the entire universe. Every atom, etc., etc., etc. The whole universe exists within every single one of these parts, okay? That's what it means to be a hologram or to be holographic, okay? And nature is holographic. And organized, we all know what that means, so we're just saying holographically organized, right? This system means that the whole system is repeated within every little part of the system, right? That's what makes it holographic, okay? So, democratic. A lot of people are confused about what a democracy really is, okay, especially here in the United States. A lot of people think that a democracy means a system of representation, or the representation or the representatives, basically anything they say and do represents the will of their constituents, the people. And the United States obviously has representatives that do not actually do this. The problem with this form of democracy is that those in power, the representatives, don't actually represent the people, right? They do what they want. They don't ask their people for their permission or for their input. Okay, and they just do it. And they vote amongst themselves. The people are not included in this vote. The only thing the people of the United States get to vote on is who becomes the president, right? We don't get to vote on any other issues that happen or that take place in our politics. All we get to choose is our senators, our governors, the president, right? Who we choose to represent us. And then we're supposed to just hope and pray that these people actually represent us and do what they said they were going to do, which is why we voted for them. Although in 300 years of United States history, it's become clear and obvious that these representatives don't do what they say they're going to do, and they don't represent their people. So this is in no way, shape, or form an actual democracy, okay? What it really is an oligarchy or an aristocracy, which is, where certain elites are in power and making all the decisions. And that's exactly what the United States and Great Britain and most democratic countries actually are. These republics are really just oligarchies or aristocracies. And considering they all use the pyramid structure, right, they're really all theocracies, where those on top of the pyramid are the gods of that society making all the decisions without the input of the people, okay? So collective. The metatocracy is a collective because everybody in the society participates in politics, which is what makes it a true democracy, okay? So really this word collective could just come right out of the definition, but I personally feel like it should be there so that people don't get confused between what's actually going on here. It is a collective. Everyone is participating as a member of the government in any society that's utilizing the metatocracy, okay? Everybody participates. There are representatives, but those representatives have to make decisions based upon what the people want, right? And so every decision goes down to the people to debate upon and vote upon first. And those debates and votes work their way up. I'm sorry, that was kind of like a pyramid, but work their way actually outwards in rings, right? Based on this here organizational structure. It starts at the innermost layers, which is where the masses of the people are, and works its way outward. I mean, on this diagram, it looks like outward is inward and inward is outward, but the people, like, forget all this stuff around here. Everything's really inside this center circle here, right? So forget the rest of that. everything starts at the innermost, right? Because there's circles within circles within circles within circles inside of here, right? And starts at these innermost circles and works its way to these outermost circles, which is where the representatives are. And these representatives can literally only make decisions based upon what the people have decided. And all they can do is say, okay, yep, this is what the vote says, so this is what we're going to do, okay? And that way, the people are actually represented in a true democratic fashion, okay? If you look at any like open source coding platform that has a democracy to it, this is how they do it in these kinds of arenas, right? Everybody takes part in a vote, in a debate, and in a vote, and what ends up getting decided is based on what the majority of everybody wants, not just what the majority of the representatives want, okay? Now, anarchy. Anarchy is probably the absolute most confusing part of this definition, and that's mostly because most people are very confused about what anarchy actually means, what it actually entails, right? The elites would like to have us believe that anarchy is chaos, right? When in reality, there is only chaos without anarchy, okay? What anarchy really means is that everyone in a given society, in a given system, is considered equal, free, and sovereign, okay? That's what anarchy truly means. When America was first founded by the Founding Fathers, well, actually before America was actually even founded as the United States, right, before the Constitution, there was anarchy in this country, and everything worked pretty much as it should. People had their businesses, people provided services to society, nobody really messed with anybody, and if they did, well, you had the right to, defend yourself. But, then everything slowly started to change into what we have now in the United States, which is an oligarchy. But anarchy literally means everyone is free, everyone is equal, everyone is sovereign, and that's why it's so important that this be in the definition of the metatocracy, because in the metatocracy, everyone is free, everyone is equal, and everyone is sovereign. But unlike just an anarchy where there is no organizational system for society to develop and flourish and evolve, right? In this case, there is an organizational system, a holographically organized, democratic, collective system with anarchy, right? Anarchy just meaning that everyone's free, equal, and sovereign. In this case, anarchy also means, like collective, that everyone must participate, okay? And if there's true anarchy, then everyone should also have the right to not participate, okay? But that should be on an issue-to-issue basis, right? If you don't really care to put your input on a certain issue, then don't. But if you care to put your input on an issue, then you can actually do that in the metatocracy. You can't do that in any pyramid structure, right? Because anywhere less than the top, and you don't have a real say in matters, or maybe even the second tier from the top. But nonetheless, this is the only way that you can actually have a system of anarchy actually work for a society, because anarchy without organization would be chaos, just like organization without anarchy is chaos. But when you take organization and anarchy and put them together, especially in a holographically organized sense with principles of democracy, now you have a system wherein a society can actually flourish, okay? And continue to evolve based on the will of the people, right? Not the will of the representatives, not the will of the elites, not the will of those in power, but the will of everybody as a collective whole, okay? Now, as always, please like if you liked this video, please share if you believe in what is happening here and you'd like to help spread the word. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe so that you can get updates for any future videos. Namaste.